Excellent. Wow, okay. Welcome. My name is Benedick Howard, and yeah, let's put up the logo here. Excellent. Yeah, what a week, huh? I've got some stuff to share with you in today's what do we call it, webinar, and essentially it's about the heart, and I want to introduce you to this continuing unraveling of how important electricity and energy is, and the fact that it's all sourced out of the ether. And that's what I've been working with for many, many years now. And so I want to just see if I can get to the next thing. I guess I have to hide it, maybe. Today's topic is the Great Rethink. So welcome to January the 11th, and this is my second webinar come discussion come Q&A session. And today's topic is, really learning how to think out of the box, and what, let's see what we can do. No, we don't want that. Let's hide this one. There we go. Thinking out of the box, and really beyond the machine. And sadly, what's happened has really created a mess. Let's see if I can get this down to size here. Yeah, a mess of the way that we don't acknowledge the incredible power of the source of everything that comes to us. And the ego gets in the way in all these different structures, but essentially it's been educated out or deprogrammed out of society. And the insight here is that your body is not a machine with replaceable parts. You can literally regrow those parts with several methods, but fasting is one of the ways, because of the stem cells production from the colon, especially in the little folds in the colon. When the fasted state and that energy is more ripe, the higher voltage, that intelligent dynamic electrochemical system, or biochemical or electrobiochemical. And so that's what is basically the foundation of bringing that energy up, as for the Ageless Warrior Alliance. So I'm challenging the flawed mechanistic metaphors that compromise longevity totally. So today I'm going to deconstruct the pump and the army, and to reveal the true nature of the internal flow and defense. So we're talking about the heart and the immune system. And reclaiming your health starts with reclaiming the language that you use to describe your body. Okay, an example, last week I did really well after I did the first. There's a lot of prep in this, and I'm just getting my feet wet, as it were. There's a lot of prep getting all of this together. And then towards the end of the week, I kind of fell off my normal fasting regime. I've got my new dog that came in, and he's just delightful, but nonetheless, it is about, prepping his food and changing my routine to accommodate what I need to do for him and his exercise. And by the end of the week, I had fallen off. I was instead of fasting 20 hours, which is what I normally do, I was down to 12. So let's look at this heart as a pump thing. It's not a pump. And so this flawed metaphor of Newtonian physics fails to explain how a 300-gram heart forces viscous blood through 6,000 miles of vessels. So what it is that these vortexes and the geometry is especially important. And when you think of the energy exchange, I want you to sort of think of it as electrical sparks that look like roots going into the soil, or branches going out from a tree or a plant, and they're collecting energy. And and the heart is the same thing. It has really, really a huge magnetic field component to it. And so it's resonating with the electrochemical ether fields. And this blood's electrical charge, the Zeta potential in the blood, is paramount to good health. Basically, with a good electrical charge, it's full of antioxidants. And the antioxidative state is when the body is fully charged. So maybe you've been to my site, I talk about the voltage charge around the mitochondria and how important that is to understand what's going on there. And so the heart's role is to guide the flow and maintain the rhythm, acting like a hydraulic ram, but that's been pulled and flowed. The blood is being pulled and flowed and again vortexed, even into the capillaries. There's little vortex motion in there. And I first found out about this, I think it was in the book Sensitive Chaos, which my dad had, and I read the copy of it, was back in my late teens. And in there, there's this illustration of the heart that's been unwrapped and all the muscle has been straightened out. It's not straight, but it's been unwrapped from the heart. But the heart is actually one muscle that goes around. And so each time that muscle contracts, it's fluxing in that vortex of energy that we saw in this image here. So this image is actually, his name is Ben Grady. And I altered it a little bit. I put in these lightning sparks to indicate the flow of energy into the vortex and from around the energy field around the heart. Actually, it's bigger. You can measure it out for a long way. And so that's the image we want to sort of, we're learning about here. And so what can we do to support this pillar of action, or this many-dimensional, this three-dimensional active creative process or infusing energy process into our bodies? And, deep diaphragmatic breathing. And when I do my Ashtanga yoga, maybe you've seen them, I do a monthly upload of my practice. And maybe you've seen, and in that process, in that yoga, in the Ashtanga yoga practice, we use what's called the Ujjayi breath, which is just a modification of just deep breathing. Essentially what it is more of a snort. It's like you close off the back of the esophagus, and then when you exhale, you close it again. So I'm having to blow out a little harder. And what that does is it blows more oxygen, as you would like to think of it, but it's way more than oxygen that's going into the lungs. It's the same sparking electrical energy that's coming out and going into the lungs. So that's a primary engine for that return of that blood flow. And so it's like, it's all, when I go running, I try to breathe through my nose in that, or if I'm up high altitude hiking up at, 10,000, 12,000, 13,000 feet, I use this Ujjayi breath, and it gets to a place, or my walking pace is slowed right down to like one step, another step, one step, another step, one step, another step. And it's just like, that's how I maintain movement when the air is really thin up there. Now, the sound healing component is kind of interesting because It entrains the heart's vortex and the brain waves and all of the other organ waves too. And if you look at my site at benedickhoward.com, you'll see reference to the sound environment that I created, where you lay on a bed that is vibrating with the musical notes in it, and you're surrounded by a dodecahedron. And so what that does is it allows you to this vibrational alignment. It's allowing all of the systems to resonate together, increase clarity, increase body or gut mind connection, etc. And supporting this flow is not about forcing any change. Change is important, and sometimes we have to get up that extra hour in the morning in order to break habits or give you more time of real peace time before the day gets going. And I highly recommend you do. So, the next slide is going on to the immune system component of it more. So let's close that one and let's see if we get this one to come up. Yeah, there he is. And this is an important thing. The immune system is not an army. It's like, it's also like flight or fear. When you have that immediate response programmed into you, oh, it's flight or fear, rather than, hey, it's just common sense, And then the army metaphor is such a way of imprisoning us with fear. It's not like we got to go kill all of these bad guys. The body will naturally take care of that. And arguably, the immune system doesn't exist at the physical level. It's kind of like a plasma component of electricity that's condensing out into plasma. And so, this another of these fallacies. Hey, my podcast is the Fallacy and Idiocracy podcast. So the system's primary role is to maintain balance and homeostasis and clear debris, which is the autophagy component. But that's the energetics. What happens when you have the high and low voltage in healthy tissues, the higher voltage, in lower dying tissues, the lower voltage. So it's the higher tissues just taking care of the trash and cleaning it out, which is, of course, this term called autophagy. So this inflammation is derived from the low voltage in your cells. And so the low voltage leads to all of the inflammatory spectrum of, quote, diseases. And when you look at the body from a healthy perspective of we are whole in the first place, we just need to give it the environment that this body can do it. So when you're loading yourself up with whatever, stress to foods, and everything in between, it's such a stress on the body that it doesn't have the capacity to do its work because the voltage is low, kind of like a flat battery. And that's where my scalar and microcurrent stimulation work came out of, the desire to learn that, which I mastered with the Russians some 20 years ago. So, the strategic fasting thing, there we go. Great, I've got these slides happening. It's at different hours into the fast, which is why I go like 20 hours, or I like to go like 20 hours, is that it allows some of the autophagy to kick in from depends on your system and depends how mucked up it is. But anywhere from 10, 12 hours to throughout your fast. Human growth hormone comes in, I think, at around 36 hours. But essentially, in order to get into the fasting mindset, it is, for me, still problematic. And like last week, I fell off the wagon and overate, and actually didn't do. Every week I do a weekly report, and this is a friend of mine was sitting in the park yesterday after I'd put together some of these slides and things, and every week I'm looking through my journal here. I want to show you. I've gone too far. I took Dr. Mindy's fasting course last week. Hey, do you guys get into that? I'd highly recommend it, especially for the women. And I'm glad I took it, because now I understand the issues that women have with fasting, which is different to guys. 72 trillion cells in the body, etc., and all of that. What I do is what I do is I keep tabs on sleep. I do squats every morning. Oh, somebody was asking, what do you do to keep fit? Well, one of the things I do every time I get up is I have a cold shower. It's not ice cold by any means, but it's cold. And I do an increasing number of squats over the years. I started around 10, and now I'm up to, actually, yesterday I think it was 48, and in a given time period. So, developing these routines that are healthy routines, eating the right food, obviously, and not too much of it. And even if you're eating all organic and, non-GMO foods, you can still eat too much. You're going to still have the same problems. And take it from one who knows. So it's like essential to eliminate those processed foods, gabam, that's because what happens is the processed foods, they're harder to digest and bring any goodness out of them. And you may know that the digestion process actually takes a lot of energy out of the foods. It's like 70%. So it's only making a few percentage available. And let's start with here and move back into the heart. Now, I just want to get rid of this. Hide it. Okay. So I was talking about that magnetic field around the heart earlier on. And, this night sky was the night sky at the summit of Mauna Kea just a few days ago after we had the snow here. And actually last night, what we had, there was the beginning of the episode 30 of the volcano eruption. So it's, these huge energy forces. And the magnetic field of the heart is affected by the emotion and your mindset and those around us because of what they're talking about, cardio-electromagnetic communication. Okay, big word for it, but it's really the way that things work. We are all interconnected. I mean, I've run up and down with my dog, and he's like sniffing and sniffing, and he's getting all these different electrical signals that are being reprocessed into sense. And that's how that's what I wanted to say about, the heart. It's like you need to think out of the box. There's no way this beautiful energy of the heart can pump through thousands of miles of capillaries, etc. And the reason that this is so important is because of the mitochondria. These are the little organelles. There are a quadrillion of them in your body, like the 70 trillion cells. Well, it can be up to 1,000 of these in a cell. And they are the ones that are actually communicating, also bringing in voltage and through the ATP. And we'll get into that later. So, this is Ben Grady's image that we saw earlier on that I what did I do? I put up there for you guys to see. We can't download that. Yeah, if you're online here, click that download button. I'll do it for you to just see what happens. And it's gone to another screen and it's downloaded that image, that PDF, which is Ben Grader's really good excerpt of the whole shenanigans if you want to learn more about it. And so the heart is not a pump. Okay, just quickly to update you on machine squaring. Here we go. I'm beginning to put the fasting shorts. If you're in the awareness Ageless Warrior Alliance, I'm putting up all of these shorts with different doctors and different people talking about fasting, and so you're welcome when you get that membership. It's all coming together right now. And what did I also want to show you? Not that one. Yeah, I have them all housed up here that I've been collecting. There's over 117, I think, in that fasting. So I'm using these to deliver it to you. Yeah, share this one. And then over. So as we wrap up today's session, remember the core truth we deconstructed. Your body is not a machine. It's a dynamic, intelligent system. When you stop treating your heart like a pump or your immune system like an army, you unlock a new level of cellular flow and resilience. You move from forcing a machine to harmonizing a system. Your weekly challenge is practice the vibrational alignment posture in that slide we looked at earlier, and focus on deep diaphragmatic breathing, and that supports the heart's natural vortex. It massages the gut. So next week, and when you do that, notice and maybe comment below of the internal flow changes. So next week, we're going to talk about voltage crisis, and we'll dive deep into the cellular energy crisis as the root of executive or all of our burnouts. We will reveal the 30 million volt mitochondrial secret and how to recharge your cellular battery pack for peak performance. So if you're ready to move faster and get a personalized blueprint of the unique terrain, you can book the one-on-one strategy session with me. Just go to my website. And so this weekly call is the map. It's your one-on-one, your GPS, right? And I really thank you for part of this, and as the founding and part of the founding alliance, and welcome new members. So go forth, question everything, and contact your architect of your longevity. I'll see you next week. It's Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific. Warrior out.